Welcome to the Real Chili Podcast.
And the Golden Eagles of Marquette University in Milwaukee are bound for the Final Four for only the third time ever.
5 seconds left. Marquette down by one, trying to avoid the upset. Blue the drive, the left hand. It's good. 1 second to play. Vander Blue has put Marquette in front by one.
And I want to win every day as basketball players, as students, and I want to win every day, most importantly, as people.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Real Chili Podcast. I'm Mike Lavender. In just 1 second, we'll get you to Brian Henry and Pete Mohan, who are the hosts of today's episode. A quick word and an apology of sorts. It's been over 2 weeks since we published our last episode here, and it always seems like this time of year is the busiest time of year with family commitments and work commitments. But on top of all of that, we've also been looking into a new software platform here on the podcast, which we believe will allow us to more efficiently and effectively get our episodes out to you while still maintaining high audio quality and a commitment to conversational Marquette basketball podcasts, which we think is so important here. So this is the first foray into that new software platform. You may notice a few bumps along the way, but we think those will get better quickly with our next episode. So without further delay, I want to get it out to Brian Henry and Pete Mohan, who are going to do a recap of the UTEP game and the briefest of previews of the UW game. Keep an eye on our feed in the next 24 to 48 hours for a more in-depth preview of the UW game. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for listening to the Real Chili Podcast, and enjoy the show.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to the latest edition of the Real Chili Podcast, coming off of Marquette's not very inspiring victory over the University of Texas El Paso. But guess what? That doesn't matter. It's Badger Hate Week. The hell with the University of Wisconsin. This is the week that fans wake up in the morning for. Pete Mohan with us on the pod today. I am Brian Henry. Peter, how you feeling?
Good. I mean, it's hard, I think, for anyone who's spent time living in Wisconsin to conjure actual hate. I feel like it's probably a bit of a misnomer, just too friendly of people.
Agreed.
But we try our best to conjure that hate.
Well, and truly the definition of an absolute trap game, sandwiched between Kansas State and Wisconsin. Marquette delivers a borderline inspiring performance against the Wildcats last weekend. Wisconsin looms in this upcoming weekend. And I don't want to say laid an egg, Pete, but you know what? I can't say I blame them for being disinterested. I personally was at the game tonight, took part in my first experience at the Pfizer Forum. Pfizer? I haven't totally figured that out yet. Pfizer, thank you very much. Enjoyed the building. It's absolutely beautiful. Lifeless crowd tonight. But again, on a Tuesday in early December, sandwiched between two big games. Cannot say I'm totally surprised. The team, this was the most important thing to me, Pete. They won. Nobody got hurt. That's legitimately all you can ask for in a Tuesday game against UTEP. Fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any good non-conference schedule is predicated on beating the cupcakes. And you go from there and you try and get some nice wins, which actually Marquette has already accomplished with a win against Louisville that is now starting to look a little better with some of the other teams they've beat recently. And then the Kansas State win, obviously, previous Saturday was a huge win as they were ranked 10th or 12th, depending on which poll you're looking at. So, it's two quality wins to go with so far a somewhat flawless cupcake schedule for the remainder of the games. And really, Marquette is right where we pretty much expected them to be heading into the Wisconsin game. I think actually, Wisconsin was, supposed to be pretty decent this year, but they might have outplayed some expectations already this year, I think.
Oh, agreed. They absolutely have outplayed expectations this year. The fact that they're coming off the season they had a year ago, to see them ranked in the top 15 in the country this early, really, I know Big Ten play has technically started. They played a couple of league games already, but to have them without playing the bulk of their leagues, they did struggle a little bit with Rutgers. But the Scarlet Knights, real tough to go into the rack and get a victory. No, very impressive. They have been good. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They have been good. It'll be a challenge. It'll be a quality win to beat that team on Saturday. And don't forget, too, as we're talking about wrapping up non-conference play, Pete, that Buffalo game also looms very large on the horizon because that is a darn good basketball team as well. That would certainly be a quality win to add to the resume with Buffalo coming to the
right. I
coming to
believe
Milwaukee
they're currently ranked 17th in the nation, and I'm actually just going to pull up their schedule real fast, see if they had any other tough games before us. Actually, yeah, they do play Syracuse the Tuesday before us, but that wouldn't impact the ranking. So it looks like, barring a tragedy against Southern Illinois, Buffalo will probably be still ranked when we face them. So 2 more opportunities to get really trademark victories in this non-conference prior to what seems like it might be a little bit of a muddled Big East. And, this non-conference may be becoming a bit more crucial as the conference really hasn't secured a ton of signature wins, for the Big East and non-conference. So these games becoming more and more important in terms of building our resume going forward this season.
Agreed. The biggest thing takeaway from tonight, I don't want to invest too much into this UTEP game, but it does need to be pointed out, 4 for 22 from behind the three-point line, Pete. Even in a game where, there wasn't a ton of buzz around it, this is a better basketball team than shooting 4 for 22. They're not beating Wisconsin on Saturday with a performance like that from behind the arc. So that's an area that, plain and simple, got to be better.
I mean, how many games is Sam Hauser going to go 0 for 6 from 3? I mean,
right.
It's just this is really this is as rare as a 6 for 6 or 7 for 7 game from 3 for Sam. So I'm sure he'll rebound. I will say that, I think Chartouni needs to pick his spots. He was 0 for 4 from 3 himself. And, it's fine. He needs to be a threat. He needs to hit the open shot, but really probably don't need him taking any more than 4 threes. And probably fewer if he's been, if he's had an offer to that point. So I think really the thing we still need to clean up is the turnovers. The second half of the UTEP game cleaned it up a little bit. But again, 2 turnovers for Ed Morrow despite a 4 for 4 shooting game for him. Something he needs to continue to work on is his control of the rock when he gets the ball down low. But on the other hand of the center discussion, Theo had no turnovers in this game, and Matt Helt even had a few decent minutes, putting up
he did
3 points and 2 boards. What'd you see from Helt?
I'll just say that it's fascinating to be in the building tonight. The way the crowd reacts to Helt, for even the people that were there. I mean, you really do appreciate the larger than life kind of image he's carved amongst the fan base. The people do really love him. He is instant energy in the. He's instant energy in the building. Not even necessarily saying, Pete, that his play is instant energy, but the crowd reacts to him, and the team. You can see his teammates feed off that. Again, we've talked about it ad nauseum. There's no sense in wasting a ton more oxygen. He is what he is. It's tough for Matt Helt to be the starting center on a team that's being competitive to compete for a conference title. I think we all know that Theo John needs the minutes, and we need to see him grow and get better. And we saw, early in the game, he did an excellent job. Good post move, shooting with the right and left hand. This is I'm glad they gave him the opportunities. It was nice to see him do that in the game. Missed a couple of those lefties, but I want to see him continuing to shoot it because that's a guy that you need to get production from.
I think it's great to just see that, like, in a player on our team, that there's a guy that comes off the bench that the crowd really gets hyped for, even if he's only in the game for 5 to 7 minutes. Right. It's fired up for a guy, and it's just that additional spark that doesn't come it doesn't come at all from a great play on the court. It's just, oh, look, Helt's coming in the game. The crowd is all of a sudden into it, and it's nice to have that wild card, even if he's just coming in for a few minutes and providing some replacement level play. So,
and Helt can absolutely own that role. This is just a brief pod that we're giving you tonight. We're acting quick reacts to UTEP, and Pete, give the people what they want because this is what they're tuning in for. Wisconsin on Saturday, the defining game of the non-conference schedule on an annual basis, regardless of how good or bad Marquette and Wisconsin is. Give me your immediate thoughts as we head into this on Saturday.
Well, I think that Marquette is still yet to really have that game where they're totally hitting in rhythm all year. Obviously, I think this team is a little bit better than last year's Marquette's team, where, I mean, in the last year's Marquette game against Wisconsin, the team was hitting on all cylinders and really had their way with Wisconsin on both sides of the floor. I expect it to be a little bit closer. Wisconsin definitely has some guys back and some additional infusion of talent. Hap is always going to be difficult, but I think that with the home crowd, it's going to be electrifying there. And
Agreed.
I think the offense really gets going. They're just not as athletic as us on the perimeter, so I think Marcus has a little bit more opportunity to get the rock off. I mean, they are a great defensive team. It's going to be a great battle, but I just think that this is the game where everything starts to click on offense, and we emerge victorious from a hard-fought game, hopefully with like a 6-point win is what I'm projecting here.
That would be very much needed. You're absolutely right. We get to see our friend Ethan Happ again. Nothing would make me happier than seeing him in tears at the end of it. So that is our preview for this upcoming game against Wisconsin. A little reaction to Texas El Paso. Pete Mohan, any final thoughts as we get ready to head into the weekend?
I hate to sound like a broken record. I'm going to be on these guys' bandwagon all season, but Sakar has really emerged in these last two games. Huge game against Kansas State, 6 for 9 against UTEP for another 14 points. He's a critical part to this offense because of his ability to get to the rack, and Joey Hauser had a great game too. If those guys are scoring in double figures with efficient shooting against Wisconsin, I think that we walk away with a victory because Howard's going to be there. Sam's going to get his shot turned around. If those secondary guys are playing key roles, then this offense is extremely difficult to stop.
If you are in the area, get yourself into the building, be loud, make it difficult. This has been the Real Chili Podcast, getting ready for the Marquette, Wisconsin game this upcoming Saturday. Enjoy it, everybody. We'll talk to you afterward with either our most jubilant podcast of the season, or it'll be Depression Theater with all of us. So we'll join us for your therapy session if necessary afterward. Can't wait. Go Marquette. We'll talk to you next time.
And the Real Chili on Marquette's campus is way better than the Madison Real Chili. That's just facts.
God, it is.